In the last couple days, the Steelers made some new signings, and also we have more to report on the QB2 competition because it could matter for this Carolina Panthers game if Pickett can't go. All that and more on Big Deke News. The first pickup the Steelers made was bringing back former Steeler Ola Adeniyi. He was on the team from 2018 to 2020, and if I'll be honest, really didn't do anything for the team. He was a backup edge rusher for us and also a special teamer, but yeah, I don't even think he had a sack, but he was more known for some of the stuff he was doing in preseason. He was like a two-czar skipper, one of those preseason darlings, and he never really lived up to the hype. He's one of those guys where you're thinking, oh, could he be the next James Harrison, come out of nowhere, role guy, but eventually is a late bloomer. Never was the case here in Pittsburgh, and then was eventually released, and Steelers moved on. But then he got picked up by the Titans for these last 2 years in 2021 and 2022. Actually had 2.5 sacks, did some stuff for them in 2021, but then this season was banged up. Titans put him on IR, only appeared in 3 games, and eventually just this last week they ended up releasing him. But now we have some breaking news, as Adam Schefter literally just tweeted this out like 5 minutes ago. Adeniyi did not pass his physical for the Steelers, so he's not going to be on the team. We actually didn't sign him, and he will be a free agent. Now, I don't find that the interesting thing about this story or this pickup anyway. I find it more intriguing that we're just looking for edge rush depth. Now, yeah, bringing Adeniyi in, it's a cool little story. He's familiar with the Steelers. But it's more about what does that mean for the current guys on the roster. Malik Reed was a surprise absentee from last week's game due to the back injury. Are we looking to put him on IR? Is TJ Watt potentially going to be shut down for the season? I don't think that, because randomly he was not on the injury report, but neither was Malik Reed. So that's what I mean. I don't really know. There's a lot of murkiness in this situation. Or are they just bringing a guy in because they don't think some of the depth that we have is performing, like a Jameer Jones, and they just want to replace him for the latter half of this season. But that was the first move we tried to make. The second move we actually did make was signing nose tackle or defensive tackle Jonathan Marshall from the New York Jets practice squad. This is his second year in the pros. He was drafted in 2021 in the 6th round by the Jets out of the University of Arkansas. The good things I'm hearing is he is like a true nose tackle. And if anyone watched last week's game, that is something we are missing on defense. And particularly now that Chris Wormley is out for the season with an ACL, we just need some extra defensive line depth. But also, like, he's a talented dude, and a lot of Jets fans think that he's a good player. It's just that he got stuck behind a really good Jets defensive line that have a lot of depth, and he wasn't able to really find a spot. That's why he was on their practice squad. But they do think he's got some upside and may be able to carve out a role here in Pittsburgh. It's just weird to me that now the Steelers are looking for all this D-line depth. Now, injuries happen. Wormley going out doesn't help, but throughout the year, you could tell we could have used an extra guy or two, but we did have that guy in a way over these last couple years in Isaiah Buggs, because now every time I'm looking up and I'm seeing a Lions game, he's making plays left and right. There was some headline I just read that he could be in the mix, or should have been in the mix, for Defensive Player of the Week last week. We had that guy on the roster. I don't know what happened there. I really don't know. Is Detroit just a better scheme for him? He's actually even playing 50 to 60% of the snaps up there. So we had a dude in Buggs that could be filling out these type of roles, but who knows? Maybe Jonathan Marshall will be better for us. And finally, let's talk some of this quarterback news. Kenny Pickett was limited in practice yesterday. He still is in the concussion protocol. And also, Mike Tomlin was not lying in his Tuesday press conference when he said Mitch and Mason would get reps, would get work, would split time in practice this week if Kenny can't go. And that's exactly what happened yesterday. Mitch and Mason both got first-team reps. And what's funny, too, is, in the press conference, Tomlin called Mitch and Mason 2 and 2A. Just a really nice way to sprinkle what has been a disaster of a season for Mason Rudolph, being inactive every game, being the third quarterback on the depth chart, even though he has the most experience with this organization. We drafted a first-round pick in Kenny Pickett. We brought in Mitch Trubisky. It's just been a disaster for him. And Mike Tomlin had the balls to say that he is 2A on the depth chart right now. But Mason did respond to this yesterday, and this is probably the best thing that has come out of this pseudo backup quarterback 2 competition is just how Mason has handled it. When asked if he feels that he and Mitch Trubisky are 2 and 2A, as Mike Tomlin indicated, he responds, "I feel like I've been inactive." And then also asked about taking the most mental reps he ever has and if there's any benefit to it. Mason says, "I think physical reps are more beneficial, but you take the best with what you have." All I got to say is bravo. Well done. Maybe with one-liners like these, Mason might have a career in comedy. The self-awareness is off the charts. And maybe this is the kind of stuff that happens when you get beaten down, and the pain. What can rise from it is just the laughter and how you deal with it. You know what I mean? It's like when they say life, is it more of a comedy or a tragedy? Sometimes it becomes so tragic, you just got to laugh at it. And that's what probably Mason's thinking at this point. But I just think overall, Mason, stock up, more likable than ever. Yeah, I think he's really winning over Steeler Nation in a way right now through all this. But yeah, that's it for this edition of Big Deke News. I do think you still got to stick with Mitch as the backup if Kenny can't go. I think you put Mitch in against Carolina. But who knows at this point? Who knows? Let me know what you guys think of some of this recent news in Steeler Nation down below in the comments. And I hope you guys enjoyed on a Thursday. Stay chilling. Peace.